1 in 10,000 children are born with a brain malformation known as Dandy-Walker syndrome. Dandy-Walker can cause enlargement of the skull, lack of muscle control, and other developmental challenges. More research is needed, but we do know that early therapy helps many live healthier, fuller lives. 1 in 10,000 may not seem like a lot unless your child is the one. Learn more, find help, and help others. Visit dandy-walker.org.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Talkin Baseball here on Big Train TV, hosted by manager Sal Colangelo and myself, Shaun Salehi. In tonight's episode, we will be diving into the relationship between host families and the players who stay with them over the summer. We're so happy to be joined tonight by Fletcher, the host family coordinator for the Bethesda Big Train, alongside her beautiful family with her husband David and her son Grayson. We're also joined tonight by Kit Scheetz, a left-handed pitcher who played his college ball at Virginia Tech and spent his first 2 years of summer ball here in Bethesda, staying with the Fletchers back in 2013 and 2014. And the Fletchers and Kit have maintained a great relationship ever since, all the way up until right now, where Kit is currently serving as a minor league pitcher in the Houston Astros organization. Tonight's episode is brought to you by the Dandy-Walker Alliance. Visit dandy-walker.org to learn more today. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. It should be a lot of fun to talk about the relationships between host families and players playing summer ball. So thank you all for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right, so we're just gonna dive right into things. Kit, you're a left-handed pitcher. Not a lot of guys end up playing, this much of a career at the pitcher position. Sometimes they end up moving around, whether it be in Little League or whether it be in high school ball. When did you know that you wanted to be the guy to throw the rock around and you wanted to do this long term?
Yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed pitching. From an early age. My parents and coaches were just saying, you're left-handed, you got a gift. You got to run with that. No matter what you do, you're gonna play everywhere, you're gonna have fun, but you got to be serious about pitching. And I just love playing baseball. I love playing everywhere on the field. I did that all through Little League, but pitching was always my thing, and that's what I put the most time and energy into. And, it just happens to be that I turned into a pretty good career so far.
Well, that's an understatement to say the least, given how far you've been able to advance your baseball career. You're a Virginia native. You end up playing at Virginia Tech, but there was a little bit of adversity that you had to face going from the transition of high school to college ball. You had Tommy John surgery your senior year and ended up having to redshirt your first year at Tech. How difficult was that for you to overcome that kind of big hurdle so early on in your college career? And then how excited were you to just face live batters again?
Yeah, I mean, I would say more than anything, it was a mental hurdle because, I had been hurt just a couple years before. I tore my ACL playing basketball my sophomore year. So that was the first time I had been out for a significant amount of time. And so I had been through that before. So knowing the day-to-day process and just keeping, your goals really small and, stay in the present, that sort of thing. But it was just sitting out for that whole year and not really getting to showcase yourself. Once you get to a new team, like being a freshman, you want to be able to show out right away and show that you belong there and all that stuff. And I just didn't have that opportunity, which was tough, but it gave me an opportunity to just watch our upperclassmen work because we had a really strong team that year, hosted a regional for the first time in school history, and seeing starters like Joe Manaply, Brad Markey, Devin Burke, just really seasoned veterans at the collegiate level go about their business day to day. And so I kind of learned how to be a college pitcher. So for me, it was like a big reset button. Once I had a new arm, then I could start to develop my day-to-day plan, just kind of mimicking what those guys were doing.
And then in 2013, later on that summer, you end up going up to the Bethesda Big Train. And this is where everybody else comes in. Fletcher, the kind of patriarch of the Fletcher household, as you can see over there in that top left box. She is the host family coordinator, one of two host family coordinators for the Bethesda Big Train. So she organizes all of the host family kind of assignments and stuff like that when it comes to players and where they're going to stay. First of all, Ann, how did you get involved in the Bethesda Big Train? And when did you know you wanted to be a host family?
So we had kind of a crazy year that year with a lot of health stuff and moving jobs, and it had just been a very difficult year in our house. And I saw an advertisement come through like on a listserv to host a Big Train player. And I looked at David and I was like, I think we need to host a college player this summer. It's going to make things better in our house. It's going to make things feel better. And he was like, you're nuts, but whatever you like. Okay. And so we put in an application. And at that time, I think Laura Froman was doing the coordination. And, you know, she asked us if we were looking for anything in particular. And I just said, somebody who's nice and can deal with a 6 and an 8-year-old. I think they were at that point, or 7 and 9, something like that. And that's how we wound up with it.
So were you assigned Kit, or did you end up making the decision yourself to bring him into the house?
No, I was right. I was just told that I was coming to y'all's place, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I had no idea.
So it was just fate that it ended up being that way. And Sal, you are responsible for recruiting players and working with Ann to then figure out how the players are going to be situated for that summer. How much of an advantage is it for you recruiting wise to know that you have a network of families that are willing to host players from as far as Hawaii as we saw these past couple of years?
Well, I talk about it all the time. One of the key to our success is having amazing host family coordinators and amazing host families. If we don't have great host families or host families to start with, we couldn't do what we needed to do. And I say this, I said that in the Hall of Fame speech, I said it, I say it all the time. I mean, what Ann and Emily have done over the last, 6-7 years now, from when I started, they have taken it to the next level. The communication piece, just making all the families and players feel welcome when they come into the area. I mean, that helps with the retention base, with kids coming back from year to year. But I can't do what I do without Emily and Ann. And that's truly, I've said that to them over and over again. I will always say that to them. If we don't have host families, then I'm recruiting a team like I did this summer. That's all local players that we drafted. Now, we're pretty good, don't get me wrong. But it's a lot of local players because you don't have host families, so you have no places for them. Another thing, part of having a host family and having such great coordinators, it really helps build that family atmosphere. Seeing them in the bleachers, seeing the other families in the bleachers, it builds that family atmosphere. Then it trickles down to the kids, and the kids are excited. They're engaged in the game. Coming to games, they're off the streets, and it all plays a role into everything we do. So truly, and I said this, like I said every year, I cannot do what I do without those two. And I'm thankful for them. I appreciate them for doing it. And then once they give me the okay, now there's times, Ann will call, okay, is this it, Sal? Is this it? I promise this is it. No more. I said, no, I promise. We'll flop around because they are so detail oriented in what they do and how they assign people. Kit, for example, I knew Kit a little bit when he was in high school. I knew of him. I didn't know him. And then when coach called me about him and said, hey, he's unlimited, he's coming off Tommy John, he's going to be good to go, you're going to love him, and I did. I mean, Kit's a competitor. He's one of the biggest competitors we've ever had. When you're 5'9" with cleats on and you roll through people like it's nobody's business. I was in the same boat. You're too small to play the game of baseball, and Kit took that as a challenge. He did it as a young age. He did it at Virginia Tech. He's doing it in pro ball, and he'll be in the big leagues one day because of that. It's about work, dedication, work ethic, and not letting anybody tell you no. So, knowing what Kit was coming, I knew I would get good players from Virginia Tech. It's alma mater. Coach is always going to send me good players, and I just knew it would be a good fit. And obviously, Kit kind of just welcomed him himself. They welcomed him into their family, and from there on, it's history. But they're wonderful. Without them, I cannot do what I do.
That's incredibly well said. They are definitely the lifeblood of our organization. And we're joined by Grayson. Grayson Fletcher, you were, one of 2 children in the Fletcher household, and now you get almost like a big brother entering your house for a couple of months. What was your first reaction when you met Kit and knew that he was going to be staying with you guys?
I was extremely excited. Because at that time, my dad was still working for Ridgewell's, which catered the U.S. Open. And so every summer he'd leave for about a month. And so having Kit there was just awesome. He was just great. And I mean, it was awesome. Yeah, working with him during camp and just being with him was just cool.
And you just so happen to play the position of catcher, so it doesn't hurt to have a battery mate enter in the household for those couple of months. Kit, I mean, the other side of the coin, you're now entering into a family where you are pretty much integrating yourself into the family. I mean, you're treating the younger kids like they're your siblings, and the two host parents as if they are your own parents. So this is your first time going through this process. What were your expectations and how were they met?
Honestly, I didn't really know what to expect going in. This was my first time, living in someone else's house. You do the sleepover thing with friends, but no, you're living there. And, I wasn't sure what to expect, but I knew they were doing it for the first time too. So it was like, we kind of just figured it out together. They were really open-minded into bringing me in, accepting me, treating me as part of their family, always asking me to do things. And I just said, yeah, absolutely. You're hosting me, you're opening up your home to let me live there for an entire summer. Dirty college baseball player, the least I can do is have a couple meals and, play catch in the yard and that sort of thing. So, I mean, it was such a great experience. It couldn't have worked better. Obviously we still keep in touch, and it's just amazing that, from not knowing what to expect at all, it turned into such a great relationship that's carried through the years.
That's awesome. And you mentioned the meals. I have to ask, if there is Kit Scheetz ordering from the Fletcher household, what is he ordering from the kitchen?
Chicken parm.
Yeah.
That's easy. David chefs it up. I mean, there's everything David makes is really good, but that chicken parm hits different.
Yeah.
David, what do you do anything special with the chicken parm, or is it just a whole lot of love?
Just a whole lot of love.
Make love.
The things I don't make well are made with disdain.
Ah, I see.
That's what my wife says. I remember when I first met Kit, it was the day I was leaving for the U.S. Open. And I was like, wait a minute. This is the day he's arriving. This is the day I'm leaving. And, in comes this really good looking college guy. And I'm like, I'm getting ready to get on a plane and fly to San Diego. I was like, what's going on? But I was so pleasantly surprised at just the character and the person that he was. Just from the start and the small interaction that we had in the parking lot at Big Train. And then while I was in California, the way that he reacted, the way that he was with the family and the way he was with Grayson, I was like, this couldn't be any better. And then I had to tell Ann she was right about doing this. Because actually I was hesitant. I was like.
That was the worst part, wasn't it?
It was,
Yeah.
it was a little.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And Kit, like you said, you were coming off of Tommy John. You'd been redshirted that first year at Virginia Tech. So now you're seeing live batters. Like Sal said, you're unlimited. You're all systems going into this summer. How amped up were you just to have a chance to kind of get back on the rubber and show your stuff?
Oh, I mean, it was awesome. It's a 10-month plus at least, kind of recovery. And there was a point where they thought they were going to pull my red shirt, kind of like mid-March, early April. And so I was full go, late March, 10.5 months out of surgery. And then they said, no, we don't want to burn your red shirt. So then I had to sit out another couple months watching them go on and have this successful run without me contributing. So then I was just ready to go out there and start facing hitters and be able to come back in the fall and prove myself. And coming out of the bullpen too, it's like you don't really have a routine. You're just getting amped up and throwing as hard as you can. And that's really all I wanted to do was just throw comfortably, trust my arm using full arm speed and know that it's not going to re-tear and just get used to game speed again. And it was so fun.
Sal, this is kind of a unique scenario that perhaps you don't always get an opportunity to work with a player that's returning to the diamond in this sort of fashion. What were your expectations for Kit that first summer in Bethesda?
I just want him, like he just mentioned, back to the speed of play. I want him to just go out there and have fun and then enjoy the game. He was hungry. When you take a year off, you don't realize you miss something until it really happens. Just like the COVID-19 has hit us. But Kit, I speak to the coaches. what do they got to work on? What do they got to do? You know, stuff like that. With Kit was just getting them out there and letting them have fun, letting them throw, letting them feel comfortable. You know, he talks about the speed of the game, but also the mental aspect of the game to where he knows it's not going to tear again. He's not going to have any issues. Once he did that, he was great. He was his command, you know, wanted to have good command. He just did a great job for us. I mean, I think once or twice he tried to convince me to let him hit, but I don't believe that happened. But he was always trying to hit. But we just, you know, want him to have fun and work on his command and just actually work on his secondary stuff. So when he got back to Virginia Tech, you know, he was a sophomore baseball wise, like he just played a whole spring. So he took it, like I said earlier in the show. Kit took it. He worked hard. He knew what he had to do to get to the end result, and that's Kit. You know, he's not going to accept no for anything, and he's going to get to the end result. So hard work and dedication, as you can tell, is paid off for him.
Well, you end up going back to Virginia Tech, like you said, in 2014, and actually getting a chance to play for the Hokies. And you also get an opportunity later that summer to come back and stay with none other than the Fletchers. And David, when did you all decide, you know what, this is absolutely the guy we want to have back at our house next summer if we get an opportunity?
That's easy. The day he left the first year.
Yeah, we knew.
It was a no-brainer. We
Yeah.
wanted him back.
You know, we had said if he comes back, that's who we want. We're not taking anybody else. Like that's.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
We're getting Kit.
We want Kit. I was like,
Part of it, Shaun, I'd call Ann and Emily and like, all right, who do you want? Kit's not coming back. So-and-so's not coming back. All right, Sal, we want a good kid, good players. Like all the kids, I mean, really, you guys know, there's very few guys that come in that just aren't good kids and appreciate what you guys do for the players and for the big train. Very few. I was talking to Vinny the other day on the phone, and he wished Vinny Esposito, he wished he was here still. I'm just loving it, and James Outman and those guys. So, I mean, they appreciate it. Some of their fondest memories are being with the host families, being across the country. You know, like Kit said, he's away from home with a strange family, doesn't know who it is. And so, but yeah, it's a good thing.
Well, I'm happy you mentioned the fact that you were involved, because I wanted to ask both you and the family, what goes into putting together the, you know, host family now, and as the host family coordinator, to decide where players are going to go? I mean, there's all different kinds of things that you have to take into account, I'm sure, like allergies and location, who has a car, who doesn't. So what are some of the challenges that you face on a year-to-year basis trying to make sure everybody's situated properly?
Well, I'll start it, but I'm definitely going to turn the mic over to Ann because, you know, I'll start with the recruiting like I've had already right here for next summer, and I'm looking at it, and I'll say, Ann, I need 30 host families. The next question is, how many are going to have cars? And I'm like, I'm not sure. How many are coming from California? 14 or 15. So right there I'm going, but you got it. It's all yours, Ann. Take it from there.
So Sal gives us a list, and Emily and I usually towards the end, like I guess middle of May, kind of start to parse out who are our families. Do we have enough families to cover, or do we need to put out like an all points bulletin? We need more families kind of thing. And then we map out where each family is in comparison to the other families. And so then we kind of have geographic locations. So like all of the people who are in this area of Potomac are in one, and you know, all the people who are in this area of Chevy Chase or Bethesda. And then we try very strategically to put cars in each of those areas so that people can rely on one another to get places. But yes, there's an allergies piece. Sometimes there's you know, we're going to be away for these 2 weeks. So could you have somebody who's coming later in the year? Right. We also, sometimes we try to put like if a house is taking 2 people, we try to put 2 teammates together. And then we also try to put teammates close to one another, because we figure like, so I think, who was here Kit's first year? Louis, right. So Louis. So Kit's first year, we were like, okay, there's this other kid, Louis, coming. Let's try to put him, you know, close to Kit. So, and we don't even know really if they know each other, but we figure they're on the same team. They must have some connection. And that way, if, you know, if something's not going well, or just somebody needs a friend or whatever it might be, you know, you've got somebody from your team right around the corner.
And then how much of what time frame are we looking at here to kind of put everything together?
Well, so Emily and I are usually pretty good about getting it done with like, we spend a day doing it. But you know, there's a lot that goes into the prep beforehand.
Yeah.
And then even once we have everything all laid out and we send it off to Sal and to the Big Train GM, whoever that is. And then they're like, well, this person's not coming, or this person got injured, or this person now doesn't have a car. So then we go back and we rearrange things. But so yeah, we get it done in a day, but there's a lot that leads up to it and a lot to kind of close it, so that we're ready to go.
And that's some of the, Shaun, that's some of the most challenging things. And like Ann said, it's that, you know, they get it all scripted, organized, ready to go, and I'm dropping bombshells on them. Like, hey, Kit's not coming, Louie's not coming, these guys aren't coming, they don't have a car. It's very stressful on their part and my part. And once again, I appreciate you guys for being flexible with me, because not one time did you complain. And then on my end, you know, as the season comes, that anticipation, you're joyful, you get back on the field, you want to help these kids, and all of a sudden Kit calls and he can't make it, you know. So now I'm scrambling because I got one less arm, and who am I going to get, and stuff like that. So really the toughest part of summer ball, in my opinion, I got the rest down to a science, is that week prior, getting them here, making sure they're coming, and, you know, whether it's a girlfriend or it's grades or too many innings or I don't feel well, I'm homesick, you know, that's the hardest thing for me. And it's a little bit and then I drop it on Ann and Emily. So it's tough that time, but beside that, they're on point. I mean, it's worked out well.
And we also, so like one of the things I did, we look for different matches, right? So like if you have a family who has a peanut allergy, right? Like the family themselves have a peanut allergy. So you have to talk to, like, we'll talk to the kid and say like, hey, you're not gonna be able to bring any peanut butter in here. Like, is that something that you like, is that a deal breaker for you? And those are some of the simpler ones. You know, we have families who keep kosher. So like some of these boys have never even heard of keeping kosher. And so that, you know, we kind of explain what that is. Is that something that you can live with it? So Emily and I reach out to the guys to say, you know, we have a family, like we've had a few families, you know, where both parents are, you know, men, or both parents are women. Like, is that something you're comfortable with? Is that a situation you're comfortable with? Because we don't want to put our values on anybody else. So we have to make sure that wherever we're putting players, that they are comfortable with the family situation, and the family is comfortable with the players. And like Sal said, like the girlfriend thing, sometimes we'll say to a family, like, you know, this kid has a girlfriend, she may come up a few days. Is that something you're comfortable with? So we try to make it the best fit for everybody.
Yeah, and over the years, from the O'Briens to Northridges and to Becky's, and, you know, all those, and I'm not leaving anyone out intentionally, those host families, they really open it up and make it a lot easier. No question.
That's awesome. I mean, just hearing just how accommodating everybody has been. I mean, clearly, Kit, you were living the sweet life, obviously, when you came up to Bethesda. You got a chance to really have, you know, anything that you wanted at your disposal because of the generosity of people like the Fletchers. And so you go back to Blacksburg. You all are staying in contact, I'm assuming. I mean, this is only what, like a 3.5 hour drive. Do you get a chance to go see any of his games down in Blacksburg with the Hokies? And I mean, how did this kind of, you know, I mean, clearly players and families keep a good relationship due to just the fact that they get to live with each other for a certain amount of time. But you all really bonded that first summer. It's very clear.
Yeah, it was awesome. And we stayed in touch kind of, you know, throughout the year. And then come springtime, you know, I was actually playing on the field in Virginia Tech. I think Grayson's birthday, I mean, this was probably 2 or 3 years in a row. His birthday, all he wanted to do was come down to Blacksburg. Wow. And so luckily we were playing at home, and, you know, it was either on a weekend or during spring break or something for him. And like, it was an easy trip down, and I mean, it was awesome. We've gotten to still be, whether it's me going up and down to New England to see family, like a stopping point there, it's perfect right in Maryland. I mean, we've been able to find a way to see each other pretty much, you know, every year since I've been there. And, you know, when you do that, it just, you know, you can't help but continue the relationship and, you know, continue to check up on each other and see how everyone's doing. And as scary as it is to see how much the kids have grown, and it shows my age even now. I mean, it's still amazing it doesn't feel like so much time has passed because we've kept in touch, but it's just really amazing to get together and reminisce on some of those times.
Yeah, and Ann and David, clearly you all were able to form that same relationship with Kit. And Grayson, I really want to ask you, I mean, you're spending birthdays heading down to the ballpark in Blacksburg, and you've really formed like a brotherly bond with Kit. What was it about the first summer with him that made you just realize, like, this is somebody I want to go, spend more time with all the time?
I mean, I feel like he, the first summer, like, he was down here, he didn't really know the area, and so, like, he wanted to spend time with me too, like, just getting to know the area and, like, and even if we were playing video games or something like that, and it just, he was like a brother to me, and that's all I wanted to do was go see the Hokies play. It was
go see God's country, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Okay, just want to clarify that.
Yeah, absolutely.
God's country.
Yeah.
Now, Grayson, I have to ask, what's a favorite memory that you have with Kit during your 2 summers, 2013 and 2014? Maybe mom and dad were involved. Maybe they weren't. Maybe we're breaking some news here. But do you have a favorite memory with Kit?
Don't say it, Grayson.
So I have one from a couple of years ago. So, like, when he was playing with the Tri-City Valley Cats,
Oh yeah.
we went up to my mom's friend's camp, and that was up in, where was it?
The Berkshires.
In the Berkshires, and so it was not too far from the Valley Cats stadium, and so we went there, and then I was asked to do this like race on these like blow up like hippo things, and I fell flat on my face, and he right in front of Kit, and it was the funniest thing I think it was so funny. And then
What about the?
wow.
I don't know.
And then the tennis in the rain, I think, was
Yeah.
the
Tennis in the
funniest
rain,
when
oh
he
my
was here.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh, that's
When
funny.
Vine was a thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Is this the famous rain delay video?
Yes.
What's that? Yeah.
What went into that? I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on. You got golf, tennis, badminton. I don't even know what kind of sports you were playing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just typical baseball players during rain delays trying to pass the time doing something stupid or being clowns. And, I'm left-handed, so I'm extra goofy. And, I mean, everyone kind of sees the rain delay antics videos and trying to either replicate or come up with something new. And so we said, let's play tennis and flick the cup like on the inside to make a sound. And yeah, I mean, it just happened that's when Vine was a thing, and it just happened to go viral. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, Sal, I'm sure you were getting a kick out of it from the
Oh,
dugout.
I remember that. I also remember that the one year was the World Cup, and Kit also thought he was a soccer player with the soccer ball as well. Tell him to put that darn soccer ball away.
We were just staying athletic, Sal. We were just staying athletic, doing some conditioning before the game.
That's right. No, but I remember that. Yeah, like Kit said, as baseball players, when there's rainouts or it's a long bus trip, you got to have a sense of humor. You got to open up a little bit, and that team did. I mean, before every game, or just about every game at that time, led by Kit, they would do the New York Yankee pregame. Let's go so and so, let's go so and so. Of course, you remember that, right? Kid, I don't forget anything. Shaun,
It's just so summer ball. It
Right.
makes me cringe, but
Okay, every show I have, it brings back memories. There's something I'm gonna throw.
Nothing's getting by Sal. Nothing.
Oh,
Nothing.
God.
He's going to unturn every stone. Well, I mean,
I think Kit was the one also that they were growing behind the bullpen one game. I let them do that once a year, and I was like, just bring me a cheeseburger, and someone brought me a cheeseburger. It wasn't like David's.
no, that wasn't my year. That was the year after me. I wasn't there.
And the cheeseburger was completely burnt.
Yeah, I'm a grill. See, Sal, I wouldn't do that to you. I'm a grill
I know
master.
you wouldn't, but Louis would.
Louis would, yeah.
We would.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite
Louis
memory.
burns DiGiorno, so
Yeah.
I think my favorite memory, though, or at least like what it started was, so Grayson, we had nothing to do. His season was over at that point. So we would go to we started going to all the away games too. And that's when Grayson started bat boying really, is at the away games. Cause there was nobody else was showing up at the away games to bat boy. And so that really was huge for him because he got to be surrounded by all of these college guys. And he's a real student of the game. So he really, even now, we were watching him today, he had a game. And I said, he looks like a big train player, like the way he walks out and the way he crouches. And, Sal's worked on him with catching skills and things like that. And I can still, one of the things he does is something I know that Sal taught him about the way he stands. And it's just, so that for me, it's not even, I don't know if it's a memory or an experience, but that's been one of the biggest things for us is what he's gotten out of all of this.
We try to have a little swag out there with the big one, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh, he definitely.
He definitely does.
Definitely has.
We try to. And Grayson's just one of the guys. Grayson's heard a lot of things in that dugout, and he knows he'll never repeat them. And like I said, Grayson's like another coach in the dugout. When he wasn't around last year because he's older and started playing, I hate to say it, but I missed a little joker. It's not the same. Owen's awesome. I'm glad Owen's taking your shoes. Owen is a comedian, a dancer, a rapper. Owen is the man. Amy and her husband are amazing. He's bat boying for me this summer. So at least I have someone else in the dugout. So Owen has taken your place. You've taught him well. But Grayson, I appreciate everything you did.
Yeah, thank you.
I was gonna actually ask. I'm kind of happy that your mom brought it up. You've been able to live and stay with so many different baseball players from around the country, and they'll play different positions. You were with Jacob Southern, who was a catcher. You've been with Kit, who's a pitcher. So you've kind of gotten a chance to learn from all types of aspects of the game, from every angle of the game. How has your game grown throughout this process of allowing players to come join your family?
So I think definitely the way I talk to my teammates and the way I approach pitchers when they're a little rattled, what I say to them out on the mound, I kind of have a little bit of swagger to what I say. Stuff I won't repeat, of course, but I mean, definitely the way I talk to my teammates, the way I act. Something I've learned from a lot of the guys is don't act too big. Like act like you and just have fun with the game. It's a game. I mean, it ends for everybody. Just not ended for Kit, which is awesome. And just act like maybe that game's your last, and just have fun with it. Be your best. Yeah.
Well said, Grayson. Well
said. And then Kit, clearly you get a chance to live with Grayson for 2 summers, and you get to see him, like you said, kind of grow up in front of your eyes and mature not only as a young man but also as a player. How cool is it for you to know that you've had an impact on this guy's life?
I mean, it's incredible, just because early on that first summer, I mean, you can tell how much of a baseball family they were and how much Grayson loved the game and just wanted to learn and be a sponge and soak up anything he could, and just taking everything that he learned from even just bat boying, and just any way he can soak up some information and learn something every day and apply it to his own game and his own life. We say all the time how much sports teaches us life lessons. And so it's not only just how he's developed as a player and kind of worked to get where he is now, but also just as a person. And it's incredible to see the growth from everyone in that family, but obviously just more, it's more obvious with Grayson and Eliza with how physically they've changed. But it's just awesome. And to see that, they're building a batting cage in the backyard so he can continue to work hard on his own, just taking an extra step in that initiative to find a way to get it done is definitely a trait that gets it done and gets you to the next level. So I'm excited to see where his career is going. It's definitely not over yet, and it's just beginning. And sky's the limit for sure.
And clearly the sky is also the limit for you. I mean, you end up not getting drafted after your time at Virginia Tech, but you sign as an undrafted free agent with the Houston Astros organization, and you're making progress through the minors. I mean, you've reached as high as AAA in 2019. And I mean, for the Fletchers, how awesome is it to see the first kid that you had a chance to bring into your home have a shot potentially, or, soon down the line at the big leagues?
Well, can I just, before he answers?
Yeah, go for it.
I remember it was almost a month to today And I got a call from Kit, and he was as excited as can be. And he was driving down to Randolph-Macon College in Richmond for a pro workout with the Houston Astros. We talked a little bit, and he goes down there that day and throws the heck out of the baseball. Gets a call that, he's going to make the team. And I remember his pops, love his dad. Kit, make sure you tell your dad I said hi.
I will. I know where this is going.
And I'm on the phone with his dad, with Kit, and his dad walks into the house, I guess it was, right? Or the office.
Yeah. I was sitting in the kitchen. He walked in.
And he gave him the good news. And let me tell you something. That's what family's about. The joy from his dad to see his son struggle in high school with the knee and the arm and really get to where he needs to be, to get the opportunity, because it's everyone's dream to play professional baseball. And now he's doing it as a free agent. And like you said, Shaun, he's moving up through the ranks, as a free agent. And there's no question he's going to continue to climb. But I remember his dad walking in from work and him telling him, and his reaction, wow, was worth $1 million. But I'll let you go, Kit.
Don't make me cry,
I'll remember that, right?
Don't make me cry here.
I almost paraphrase it pretty well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that was the process, really, is you got a pro workout and you got a chance to throw in front of some evaluators, and you end up getting the call, because I'm sure that was a stressful time for you where things are unknown.
Oh, I mean, that was the first taste of just how hectic and an emotional roller coaster that the game of baseball is. I mean, it was, you can think that you're going to get drafted and all this stuff. And there's so many kids that go into every year going into the draft thinking that they did enough to get selected, and it just doesn't happen for a lot of people. And, I was fortunate enough to still keep in contact with some of those scouts. I was a fifth year senior lefty throwing, 88, topping out really. So I knew it was tough for me, but I just thought, I really had done enough to showcase myself. But yeah, when it was a huge disappointment to not get selected, and then a couple of days later, just opening that door just a little bit, just having an opportunity to throw a bullpen at a tryout to try and get pulled on, and, just like with any other time, I just said, go out there and throw your best bullpen, be yourself. Don't be anybody else. Just be the best version of Kit Scheetz. And, I probably did throw the best bullpen of my life that day. It was a weird fate thing. Like, I didn't even have to try, and I was calling out pitches in different counts, and I was hitting my spot every time. It was like telling myself internally, I don't know how this is happening. This is insane. And then getting that call the afternoon and just like seeing your dreams kind of realized in a matter of being crushed a week ago and then coming to this point, and now, again, just getting that opportunity. And then, once I got it, just not taking it for granted. Take every day as if it's your last day, kind of like Grayson was saying. And because you see, once you get into it, it's a business, and it's cutthroat, and it's every man for himself as much as it's still, a team sport. And you have to treat it like it's going to be your last day, because you don't know when it's going to happen.
And then, and David, again, you get an opportunity to see the first kid that you bring into your home have a chance with a major league organization, and he's doing very well. I mean, he's rising up the ranks, and he's starting to inch his way towards the dream of playing in the big leagues. That has to be so rewarding for you, knowing that it was the first young man that you brought in as part of this process.
I lost it. I lost it. I didn't spend as much time with Kit the first year he was here, but the second year he was here, like, we'd watch Game of Thrones. I mean,
Choked up. Yeah, no, it was amazing. And Kit sent us a picture that day, or like whenever the day he went to sign his contract and have his physical, and he's like, this is happening right now. And it was just, it was such a thrill. And it was so, we believed in him from, the minute we met him, just because he has such a personality that makes you, when you meet him, you believe in him, and you believe in what he wants and what he can do. And you see, he puts his words into action. If he says he's going to do something, he does it, and he did it. And we saw that in his interactions with the kids and in his interactions with the kids at camp. I mean, everybody's favorite counselor at camp.
No question.
And so, yeah, it was an amazing experience. And then, we took Grayson I took Grayson as a surprise up to see him. And that was just fantastic. That was, when he came over to talk to us and other people were like, how do you know that kid? We're like, oh.
Yeah. Memories that you'll never lose, and memories that no one can ever take back from you.
Yeah.
Now, Kit, I have to ask the big question. I mean, you've had an incredibly up and down baseball journey, highs and lows, but it's on its way up. And, you've been very successful playing the sport that you love, and you've had a chip on your shoulder your entire career. Like you said, I mean, a shorter pitcher, left-handed, not really counted on by a lot of people, having some injury issues early on in high school and having to overcome adversity every step of the way. And then you get a chance to meet people like the Fletchers and experience what you did in Bethesda, and things start to kind of, roll in the right direction for you. How much has your relationship with the Fletchers impacted you as a young man and as a baseball player?
Oh, man. I mean, I would just say when you have such a strong support system around you, like the relationship I have with them, like we're still family, even though we don't talk or see each other as much, but to know that they're there and they're supporting you and they believe in you, like from the very beginning, it motivates you to want to do it for them. You know what I mean? The people that are just so unselfish and have treated you so well along this journey, there's much part of it as you are individually. And, I keep everyone in my heart and close to me. And, I think about them all the time, say like, yeah, these people were there for you, at that first summer coming back from Tommy John. And, we were here 8 years later. And it's just, it fuels you to want to do the right thing and treat people the right way. Just like, I learned from them, just how to be a person as much as, they learned from me. And I can't be more thankful for them. And I mean, to reiterate what I'm saying, like, I just want to do it for everyone that's been so supportive of me this whole time.
And David, I'll give you an opportunity to respond. What has Kit meant to your family these past 8 years?
For me, he was the first teenager I had in this house. He was 19 when he showed up. And I work with kids, I work with teens, but I had no idea how to parent a teen even for a summer. So part of it is what he taught me is how to parent a teen and expectations and how to also, communicate with that age group. But just how to, we talk to Grayson about this all the time, because Grayson's now had opportunities to go places and live in other people's houses. And we always say, you have to remember what Kit was like that when he showed up here and how he treated us, and you need to treat whoever you're with and their kids the same way. You have to give them the same attention. And but it's like having another son, and we have loved having him as part of our lives, and watching him, and he, we'll reach out to him if Grayson's having a bad day. Once in a while I'll text Kit and be like, geez, having a bad day, can you please send a text? And he does. Done. Not a problem. And you can, Grayson will come out of his room and there's a huge smile on his face, and I know why, but I'm gonna be like, Kit just texted me. I'm like, great, nice. So it's, it's having another son. It's having a brother, a big brother for the kids, and a connection also to that generation. We're only a little bit older, but so
we still games.
And then the other thing is we formed a connection with his family too. Yeah. So we've got to know his dad and his stepmom and his mom and his brother and his grandparents. Like we've gotten to know the whole Scheetz family. And so we've been very lucky to have them as part of our lives as well. So like when the Nats were playing the Astros in the World Series, they came up here to see them play, and we got to see Kit at the World Series. So it's just, and his whole family. So that was really, those are incredible memories and incredible bonds.
And Sal, I'm sure you getting an opportunity as, the baseball aspect of this, you get to see players grow, but you also get to see them as young men grow. And, you know, like you said, you make sure that you are bringing in good kids to this organization. But to see that it pays off and they are really blending in with these families and building, in this case, lifelong relationships, that has to feel incredibly rewarding to you.
That's why I do it. That's the bottom line. It's not how many games I win, how many championships we win. I couldn't tell you how many championships we won. I couldn't tell you until about COVID hit when Bill Hickman told me how many wins I've had as a manager. I couldn't even tell you, but it's those memories and bringing those kids in and seeing the way they act and getting to know them and seeing them become professional baseball players, doctors, lawyers, news anchors, you know, statisticians, computer operators, associate head coaches at Notre Dame, and to see that, it puts it in perspective. It puts it in perspective that the Lord put me on this planet to do what I do, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. 20 years plus, still fired up to go, ready for next season. Get a little taste of baseball a little bit this summer. It's a little bit different, but nonetheless, I got a Hokie with me, so that's good. I got Lucas Donnellan, who will be back with us again, who will be with the big train next summer as well from Virginia Tech. But needless to say, it's rewarding. It really is.
Well, guys, thank you all so much for coming on to this show. We've done a lot of different guests. We've had a lot of different people come through, and they've all been incredible. But this was a really important episode because I feel like a lot of fans don't understand just how much goes on behind the scenes to make everything happen that goes on onto the diamond. And a huge part of that is the role that host families play in the organization. So David and Grayson, thank you so much for everything that you all do for the organization. Kit, thank you so much for joining us. And Sal, I'll see you next week. Don't worry about it. But guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in.
One thing too. Make sure you tell that young lady that's not in the picture, the real boss of the household, I said hello.
Yes, no, absolutely. And the other thing I was going to say is that, so during quarantine, we got Grayson to start doing yoga because I was like, you know who else is doing yoga? So like in terms of influence, there's another, I didn't even mention that.
That's
and
right.
When Grayson's hitting has gotten a lot stronger, and his coach came up to me a couple of weeks ago and says, like, what did you guys do? Like, what happened? And I was like, well, you know, he's been working on hitting every day, but he started doing yoga over quarantine. And his coach was like, that's it. He's like, the way he's moving, it's the yoga. And I was like,
yep, there you have it.
so Kit continues to have influence.
Yep.
The things that he knows at an early high school age that I would have loved to know back then. I mean, but hey, we're starting to figure it out now. So, hey, man, stick with the yoga. It's awesome.
Yep.
Really good stuff.
That's awesome. Thank you guys again so much for joining us for another episode of Talkin Baseball. If you're everything else Big Train related, keep it right here on Big Train TV. Have a good night.